What did you do in the Cold War, Daddy? This was sparked off when I looked through eBay and found this model aeroplane. It's actually a Bear Tu-95 Bear Delta bomber, and this was the typical of the type of Soviet aircraft we were intercepting in the mid-80s, up to the mid-80s. As recent events have shown, it's still continuing to this day. This led to me making the Bear itself. This is the Bear Delta. The blisters reflect homing for the various sensors, and the star of the Communist Party showing on it. They would be launched up into international airspace, but airspace that was actually our sphere of interest. And quite often they were flying without submitting flight plans. And so for safety's sake, we had to go and intercept them. And also we were showing a presence. This was the height of the Cold War, East versus West. And this then led me to the title that, what did you do in the Cold War, Daddy? And so what I've got here is a little story, a narrative, rather than I did this then and my friend did that then. This is a narrative, hopefully reflecting what was going on at that time. So here we are. What did you do in the Cold War, Daddy? Thomas the Tank Engine meandered around the railway lines on the island of Sodor. It seemed an endless litany of railway scenes, of good engines versus bad black locomotives, each vying for control over the hapless carriages, Annie and Clarabelle, and not forgetting the endless profusion of the troublesome trucks, and of course the kindly intervention of the Fat Controller Sir Topham Hatt. This was the days when the TV series was filmed using real models instead of today's computer-generated imagery. In fact, it was rumoured that Thomas was not one, but several models, and each of different size. This was 1985, and the Cold War still had its course to run. There were 4 of us sat watching the TV exploits of Thomas et al. The crew room, Spartan and almost clinical in its ambience, if not its actual appearance, and very basic in its amenities. A small galley-like kitchen led off to one side, and on the other, a door opened up to the bunk room. And this was home for the 4 of us for 24 hours as we stood on 10 minutes readiness to fly and intercept any unwarranted or indeed unidentified aeroplane in our airspace of interest. Quick Reaction Alert, or QRA, to give it its correct name. Beside the Thomas and the TV set was the Hadley speaker, known colloquially as the Squawk Box. And this was our direct line to the fighter controllers sitting in front of their radar and computer screens at RAF Buchan near Peterhead, north of Aberdeen, some 100 miles to the north. A standard post office issue telephone, and that's from the days when the GPO ran the country's telephone system, alongside completed the comm setup to the defence of the northern QRA area. So there we have it. A TV, Hadley Squawk Box, GPO style telephone, and Thomas continued his adventures, and we 4 dozed off. A short passage off the austere room was connected to the large hangar or alert shed which housed 2 McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom FG-1 fighter jets, all armed to the teeth. 4 infrared Sidewinder heat-guided missiles, together with 4 of the more complex Sparrow 3 radar-guided missiles. 2 Sergeant Fletcher drop tanks and a centre-line fuel tank completed the fit. The result looked menacing and fit for purpose. That purpose was to act out the final link in the chain of reporting and intelligence gathering that extended far beyond the quiet, peaceful coastline of Fife, Scotland, RAF Lucasau Aerodrome, and our home base. Lucas was opened to aviation by the Royal Naval Air Service in 1911 and continued through 2 world wars, the Cold War, and up to around 2015. To the south, across the Eden Estuary, Clearly visible on a good day lay the granite outline of the ancient city of St Andrews, with the rolling golf greens of the famous Old Course laid out in vivid contrast before it. Thomas is about to sort out the mess the troublesome trucks have made when the telephone rings out, shrill and cutting, as it penetrates our somnolent state. The Q1 pilot, who is the officer in charge of our shift duty, answers. Northern Q. A muttering is heard down the line, our senses fully sharp now. He replaces the receiver. Expectation is in the air, and the tension which moments before had been non-existent was now intense and in the open. With an imperceptible nod of his head to the replacement's phone, he stands in front of us. That was the Buchan Master Controller. He says that it might have some trade later. The Norwegians have got reports of an intended exercise by the Soviets. But, he added, that's all for now, so relax. Our crestfallen faces must have stirred a sympathetic vein in him. Anyone for coffee, he asked. Three of us nod in unison and settle back mentally speaking to Thomas. No sooner has the instant coffee been served and we are about to take our first sip when the phone rings again. Northern Q. A pause. Righto, that's great, okay. We will wait with bated breath. Oh, he adds, we're not going anywhere. And again, he carefully replaces the handset. Once again, he turns to us. Right, the story so far is that the Noggies have just scrambled two F-16s out of Bodo. They are on CAP, that's Combat Air Patrol, and are waiting for trade coming round the top from Murmansk. Well, actually, no one is quite sure what the sods are up to, but they're definitely up to something unusual. This was quite good, exciting stuff. The Norwegians have launched, and so hopefully we will be next. Thomas was no longer the focus of our attention. In fact, someone quietly and without ceremony had switched him off. I'll just pop over to let the engineers know what's going on or not, Q1, pilot said. He quickly returned. Okay, that's it. Everyone is in the picture. And with that, he sat down and we relaxed. But no one volunteered to switch the television back on. Magazines were skimmed, air clues, Flight International, etc., but nothing taken in. Someone collected up the now empty coffee cups and took them through to the galley. The steward was due in soon from the officers' mess and would wash them up later. Talking of which, exclaimed the Q1 pilot, where is he? He should be here by now. If we go, it would be a good idea to get some squalid solids down now, ASAP. I nodded in agreement, and as if on cue, the door opened and in struggled the mess steward clutching hot boxes with our hot lunches. Northern Q to cockpit. The Hadley box squawked with impeccable timing. I say again, Northern Q to cockpit. The stunned look on the steward's face as we four rushed out and down the connecting passage, zipping up our immersion suits as we went down to the parked and ready Phantoms.